All right, call us to order at 6:06. We've got Deb here, Jason here. Who's on remote?
We got Ron and Tim, and then I know Barb was trying to get on, so she might be here shortly.
First order, approval of minutes from the last meeting.
I motion for approval.
I second.
Turn your mic on.
I second.
Approved?
Okay.
We have to vote?
No, we're good.
Give me 1 second. I'm going to try to get your screens on.
Persons requesting correspondence. There's nobody here. Director's report.
I didn't get a chance to complete a official one, but this past month, so February, we opened up to accept applications for a Parks and Recreation intern for the summer, for park attendance at the splash pad and running a concession stand, and for summer camp counselor. So those applications are open online, I believe, until March 16th. So we'll be, the next couple of weeks, we'll be scheduling for interviews, and then hopefully to have kind of people lined up and hired by the end of March, beginning of April. So we're going to be planned for starting, mid-May for all those positions. We are getting the parks ready because lacrosse is starting practice this week. Soccer starts in about 2 weeks, so we're getting some fields prepped. And baseball starts in about 2 weeks. So working with those organizations on their schedules and everything that they need for the season. Plenty of activities for spring and summer are already planned. Summer camp registration will be opening up mid-March. And I'm going to pause 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. And our first event coming up will be Bunny Hop in the Park, which will be the Thursday before Easter, which is April... when is it? April 10th.
That's Bunny Hop Fair.
Yep. It's a free event, but we are doing tickets just to time it and spread out the crowds. And those are available, I believe, now. We sent out our sponsorship packets to all Township businesses, so we're getting sponsorships and vendors in for all the community events this summer, which is good. If you know any businesses that want to sponsor, have them reach out. As for the ball field project, we still do not have the NPDES permit yet. The Township engineers did get comments back from the Conservation District. They're addressing those comments to hopefully have them back by 2 weeks, and then hopefully we'll have a permit 2-3 weeks after that. So
So waiting for what permit?
the NPDS is through the Allegheny County Conservation District. So we probably won't see construction for at least a month.
When do you anticipate those being completed?
It should only 2 to 3 months for the work, but then there's a matter of the grass growing.
So in terms of them being functional, when do you anticipate that?
I was originally saying fall of this year, but most likely spring of next year. We might be able to get like one game on this fall if possible, but not for the whole season, probably not. Yeah. We got a $130,000 grant from DCED, so the Department of Economic Development, Community and Economic Development, and that is to pave the Panhandle Trail. So I'm very excited about that. I think we'll be able to do the whole amount with that because there is a 30% match that we have to provide. So we're probably be looking at like a $200,000 project, which I'm hoping we'll be able to pave our whole portion, if not the majority of it, and then we can always budget for future years. For that to take place, I'd probably say that'd probably be a spring of next year project, just so we can budget our match for next year. But I'm very excited. That's the third time I've applied for a grant to get that paved. So I'm very excited we finally got funding for that. Great. Yeah. People complain about our portion the most because it's paved in Washington County. And then I know you don't like pavement. You don't like pavement. But more of like leisure riders like pavement better than the crushed limestone. So, because it goes from pavement in Washington County to, our kind of portion, and then pavement again. So it will be made nice and seamless. So, yeah. So sorry, Jason.
It's okay.
Working on submitting that AARP grant that I mentioned last month to build a bocce court and put supply lockers for pickleball supplies at Morgan Park and Fairview Park. The application is due tomorrow. And then I'm working on our DCNR grant application to fund a trailhead across the street from OTB.
I'm sorry, Paula, from where?
Across the street from OTB.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like an empty lot right now. Like if you're on Mayview Road, right across from OTB, it's kind of an empty lot. And right now we're allowing a construction company of some sort kind of keep their equipment there. That's exactly where it would go.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you talked about that last meeting.
Yeah,
It's a good location.
it is. It is. It would be the pinnacle point of connecting us to Upper St. Clair. So once our Fairview trails are done, it would connect to that trailhead, and then we're working on designing to do some type of pedestrian improvements all the way up to Upper St. Clair. So that trailhead would really be the connecting piece. Mm-hmm. So
Does
very,
the
very exciting.
Township cut off at the tracks. Is that the separator?
I think it's once you cross the bridge.
Okay.
Because if you
Yeah,
once
it
you
goes
cross the
tracks and then
bridge,
bridge. Okay.
you go like 2 or 3, you go a couple feet, and then you'll see a trail that is the.
It's Wingfield Pines. Yep.
No. Wingfield
Well,
Pines
it'll
on
get
this
you back
side.
to Wingfield Pines.
You'll see a little trail that pops out right at the end of the bridge, and that's the Boyce Mayview Perimeter Trail.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we would connect all the way
Oh,
up
you're talking about on the other. Yeah, you're talking
on the
other
same side
yeah.
as OTB.
Yeah, yeah. On the other side, there's also a trailhead that.
It is. Very
starts
small,
in there.
though.
Yeah, they get you to Wingfield Pines.
And that takes you in for Pines. Yes, correct.
Cool.
So really, that trailhead would connect kind of all us, Upper St. Clair, and Winfield Pines. It would all, yeah.
Is there a grant or is there another source of money to connect South Fayette with Upper St. Clair? Because you've got Mayview Road there that everyone's going to have to cross. I know you had mentioned something about that before.
Yes, like I said, there was an application already put in for the design work to coordinate with PennDOT on what we could be allowable to do and design it on Mayview Road. So it most likely would be a crosswalk from where we're proposing this trailhead over to OTB and then figuring out what type of pedestrian improvements that PennDOT would allow along that bridge.
Would our local state legislator perhaps be able to aid us in getting any funds or having
So
any influence on
I
that?
have an application in for the design work. So through Active Allegheny, there was a grant specifically for just planning and design. So that application's in. We're waiting to hear back. If we get that, then that would task our engineers to start coordinating with PennDOT and designing what's allowed. If we hit some bumps with PennDOT, that would be potentially a time to coordinate with them. But I'd say let's wait to see, what kind of answers and what kind of direction we get from PennDOT. So we just have to wait for that grant for the design. So pretty much that grant would pay our engineers to do the coordination and design work with PennDOT. Does that make sense?
Yes.
A little fun thing that I did a couple weeks ago. I was asked to be on a podcast, a Pennsylvania Park and Recreation Society podcast. And it's officially live. I can share the link with you guys if I do say so myself. It turned out really great. And it kind of looked at the past 10 years of the township and where we come in the parks and rec world. And it was pretty cool to look back on, where we were and where we are now. So I'll share that link with you guys.
Great.
Any other director's report?
That's
Good.
all I have.
All right. I think new business is on there next.
Yes. So the only other thing for new business that I put on here, I know Ron mentioned, and you guys all have seen about the increased vandalism in the parks. So kind of an update, we had some vandalism back in January, no results through that investigation. There was another one that happened at the beginning of February, and we were able to catch the individual that drove through Fairview A, so the first ball field. So a citation was issued along with fines. I don't know where that is, in the process of receiving all that back. And then the most recent one that you guys have seen on Facebook, unfortunately did significant damage to Fairview E, which is the back kind of field that is used by lacrosse. And Public Works did work on the field yesterday and today. I went up there and it's bad. They drove through the whole entire field. At first, I thought it was just donuts around the lacrosse school. It's the whole field. So it is temporarily closed, and I had to relocate lacrosse. Thankfully, Hunting Ridge is letting us to use kind of the big field. It's technically a baseball field, but it's a big kind of like grass area. So lacrosse practice is going to be there. Also, they're trying to work with the school on getting additional time on either the IS field or middle school field. So I think we're okay relocating. For now, I'm kind of saying it's closed till mid-April. And as we're coordinating, we'll kind of review it at the beginning of April to see if any grass. That's the problem, is we have to wait for the grass so for them to get the ruts out. They kind of had to like level it all out, even tear up some grass, level it around. So they put, they did that. They put like mushroom manure and seed down, so it's just a matter of time, like waiting to have the grass grow. So I was up there with them today. There's 2 dates that we're trying to work with the soccer association, because there's some important games where there's multiple games at the same time of different ages. We're trying to coordinate the fields. I thought this was the first year where I'd have no field issues and schedule conflicts, but here we are. So a report has been made with the police department on this incident. So it's under investigation. Not looking too good.
Do you know what type of vehicle, or is it a type of motorized bike? Do you have any idea?
We do not know at this time.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but to go hand in hand with that, I've already been talking to the police department on cameras. So we do have cameras in the park. They're kind of throughout the park. And they're just like surveillance cameras. They're not like the police ones that can read like license plates. So some of them are not good at night either. So it's very hard to figure it like when it happens at night. But talking to the police, since this has been happening a lot, we are going to explore and get some proposals on possibly putting 2 more in-depth cameras at the entrance of the park that are night vision and can kind of zoom in on license plates and make some models of cars. They're just a little bit more expensive, so we'll have to get a proposal, see if we can make it work in the budget. And that way, since there's only 2 entrances, we really can hone in exactly who's entering and exiting the parks. So right now they are trying to use the existing cameras we have there to see if they can find anything on this incident. But so I am working with the police department on see if we can figure out anything to improve the surveillance in the parks. Yeah.
Paula, what about the possibility of installing barriers that would not give them access to the park? Where the vandalism has occurred, it's very easy to get on the fields.
Yeah, so I did ask Public Works to put, so if you're kind of familiar with that one field, there's that green shed, and we think they came in behind the shed. So I did ask them to put concrete barriers right there for the time being. Obviously, they can enter anywhere from the parking lot, but that specific spot, we're going to put some concrete barriers there.
I think we need a plan for guardrails.
Yeah, I was even kind of thinking about it like along that whole parking lot.
Well, yeah, because every place that there's been vandalism, you can drive right onto the field. There's no barrier to stop them from doing. This is going to continue. We're having the same problem over here at Lakemont Farm. So we just installed cameras. So it's that's the only thing that it's not gonna stop them, but you're gonna at least know who it is.
Yeah, and I briefly talked with the township manager and Public Works to plan, when we do capital planning for Fairview A in particularly, like there's no fence along the side, so maybe looking at fencing so that at least that field could be protected, because that was one of the fields that did get. The only, for those multi-purpose fields, I mean, yeah, we could do a guide rail all along the parking lot, but there's always going to be still a way of entry onto those fields, but it might help. So yeah, those are some things that we can maybe explore and start budgeting for and planning for. Yeah.
And I hope the police, take whatever action to what the law will allow. Because the word gets out. Once there's a example, the word does get out to others who might think about doing that. So I hope we don't let whoever we've caught, I hope we don't let them off easily.
Yeah, no, the last one, the one that we were able to catch, then the police did take it, into their hands to, I think it's called, issue a citation or whatever they do. And then I'm hoping that we do find something out about this incident, because it is costly, and now that all the downtime is really affecting.
Well, and whoever does it needs to make restitution.
Yeah, so whenever something like this does happen, I go to the police, I issue a report, and then we document any cost inquired. So then that's also put into the report that then they can, passed on to what the issue citation. So yeah. So I know lacrosse or soccer asked me about preservation too, about putting bollards or a gate up, but with preservation, the issue we have there is dirt bikes and quads. So whenever bollards aren't going to stop that. And when we designed the park, we talked about gates, but then who's going to go unlock and unlock the gates all the time? It's, when we were designing preservation, we wanted to keep that walkway open for the public to use. So if you lock it up, it's not necessarily open to the public anymore. It's just, it's an issue everyone has everywhere, Yes. So.
And it's the same problem everywhere. They, for whatever reason, have targeted Fairview Park. But I toured all the parks this weekend, and they all have the same issue. I mean, there's access to every single field that you can get on with a car or Jeep or whatever, truck or whatever they're using. You know, dirt bikes and things of that sort, they can do a lot of damage too, but nothing to the extent that a car or a truck or Jeep would do. We just have to figure out a way of keeping those larger vehicles off the fields. Look at how disruptive this is for you.
Yeah. So like obviously the cameras will be a reactive thing, but if if it's known that we're tracking every single vehicle that's coming in and out, hopefully that will deter.
Yeah. Along those lines, what is the policy regarding motorized bikes in the parks? Are they allowed to have the e-bikes? Are they allowed to have e-motorcycles in the parks?
I think e-bikes are allowed. Motorcycles, it would be this, whatever the state law is, you have to have like plates and stuff on them. I think it's anything that goes over a certain, I'll say recreation road follows the same rules as like what's allowed on
Regular
a
roads.
regular township
Right,
road or
okay.
state road. Yeah.
But up in the fields, motorized bikes and motorized because there's kids all over Fairview right now with the motorized motorcycles.
Yeah, and I believe that the police have spoken to some of those kids that ride, and they know it has to be on private property. It's not allowed anymore. But you're talking about like e-bikes that we have. That's like pedal assist. I think those are allowed, but like the gas. You're talking about like the gas motorized. I believe the police have kind of approached some of the individuals that you might be referring to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Isn't it Peters
Yeah.
Township that totally, I'm sorry,
sorry.
I can wait.
Go ahead, Ron.
And with regards to Lakemont Farms, we met with the police chief this week. So there are going to be some steps taken here to try to deal with them. The problem with the kids is they don't follow normal traffic rules. I mean, they're speeding through the community and they're going right through stop signs. We're concerned about somebody getting injured, seriously injured, and they do it at night, so they don't have lights. I mean, it's a real problem. But it's not a problem unique to Lakemont Farms. According to the police chief, it's all over the community. It's all over the country.
Didn't Peters Township adopt a policy of no motorized bikes in their parks?
I don't know exactly what they adopted. I know that they were having issues. I'll have to look into that more.
Okay.
I don't know if they if they restricted the speed they're allowed to go or if they banned them altogether. But I
think they're
know they
banned.
were exploring something, so I can reach out. I know them personally. I can reach out to them and see what they're
Okay.
doing. And so I think what we could do for that is if we need to put more, like it would go into like our park rules and regulations, like that policy we always that code we update all the time. The only thing about that is I do know that with the speed limit of the park, it makes it a little bit different for like the police to be able to, like, the reason the speed is the way it is in the park is so that police can enforce it. I think that's it. But then if it goes in the park's rules, it's like a non-traffic violation. There's a different way of enforcing it and stuff like that. Well, I think it's still allowed. It just would be a non-traffic violation, just kind of like what when the dogs were on off leash. It was like a non-traffic violation that you can able to enforce.
And I've actually seen some of the kids riding those bikes down the hillside from Fairview Park and coming right on to Gina Lane, and they could very easily
I think
be
the
struck
police
by a car.
recently, I think in the last month, had a conversation with some kids in there. So I'd say probably like give it a few, I think they had addressed the issue, and I think those kids are aware of what we're allowed, like what they're allowed to do and not. So I don't think, hopefully you don't see it anymore. If you do, definitely let the police know. But I do know that there's been some communication with kids and police on the bikes, on the motorcycles.
Well, the police chief was very definitive in his statement about do not confront these kids, call 911. He wants the police called. If there's an issue that anyone observes, he wants the police called. Whether it's in a park or whether it's in a community. He said, don't hesitate to do it. The police are all aware, all the officers are aware of this issue, and he wants them called.
I'm finally here.
Hi, Barb.
Hi, Barb.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Mary.
Okay.
Just quickly, did the cameras not pick it? Would they not pick up these kids doing that?
It's still under investigation.
Okay, all right.
I skipped over old business, but I don't think we had any old business.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
recall.
Open discussion. Any other items?
I do. So I've been sitting on this for a while and just trying to wrap my head around it as a former Parks and Recreation professional. We had a very good idea of a community building that we were going to create for this South Fayette community that was going to address our recreation needs. And it just went away. I would like somebody to explain why we're not building what we planned to this board, to the community. I have people in the community that are asking me questions. What is our plan? What are we going to build? How do we go about making a new plan? It just went away, and I don't think that's right. I think that the community members that were behind that process and wanted something to have as a recreation facility deserve some answers, as well as our board deserves some answers. And so I don't know how to go about doing that to get back to the Board of Commissioners, but I'm bringing that here.
Agreed, and also just some type of a statement, of what to tell the public when they inquire on, just simple questions like, I thought we were getting a community center, so what is the just like statement that we all collectively, can provide.
Exactly. Exactly.
I believe that we're all owed some type of explanation as to why everything has changed. We know that it is financially driven, and that's understandable in today's times. But we holistically as a board have worked on the plans, the development, and we've made revisions. We put a lot of time and a lot of effort and years of thinking about our vision for a community center and what we wanted it to look like. And we know that everything, it's changed from where we were in the beginning, and that goes back at least 6 or 7 years ago, probably more than that, I'm
20.
sure. But in terms of how long I've been around. And then things changed because we kept modifying and making it what we thought was better and better, scaling down the proposals, trying to make it budget friendly. And I know that, as I said, that's a key concern. But I think rather than not giving us an explanation, something should be said. And is it going to be totally erased from the books? Is there no chance of it ever being placed back on paper? And, we need some guidance, some direction with this.
Exactly. We need guidance. We need direction about what we're supposed to
Yes.
do going forward and what we're supposed to tell our community members to do going forward.
Yes.
Thank you.
I have a novel approach. Why don't we ask for a meeting with the commissioners? And I would suggest if we did that we wouldn't include Paula. Because I think it's awkward for her to have to be in the middle of this situation. What do you think about that?
Sounds fair. I can draft up a letter requesting that.
Paula, how do you?
I mean, I think it's a conversation that I would like to be part of. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would think too.
Would that be too awkward for you?
Because your input would be valuable, but I'm concerned about repercussions.
I can just sit as a bystander because I need answers too, because I get phone calls from the public inquiring about, space to use and when the community center is coming. So, I would like to be part of that conversation to have better direction on how I can complete my job.
Okay, so Jason, you'll draft something?
Yeah, I'll draft a letter up
Okay,
on that.
all right.
Is everybody
Sounds
okay?
good.
Everybody okay with that?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we
I'll
need to make a
everybody's.
motion?
Yeah.
yes.
Yes,
I so move.
I'll second it.
All right. Anyone opposed?
Nope.
And one other suggestion, in addition to having a letter draft requesting is if they're agreeable to do that, we probably ought to have a work session where we develop an agenda for that meeting.
I agree.
Sounds like a good plan.
All right, I'm going back to my dryer installation. I think they already left, so hopefully it's installed and working.
Okay.
I'll put together a sample agenda and send it out, and then take input from everyone.
Sounds good.
All right,
Thank you,
Thank
Jason.
you, Jason.
maybe I'll motion for adjournment.
All right then.
Motion to adjourn, Ron,
Second.
Second.
Barb,
6:38.